What is up, guys, and welcome to your no-nonsense guide on how to play Thor in Marvel Rivals. As usual, we'll go through his abilities and how they work, and then we'll go on to how I would play him in a normal game. We're going to start with Thor's passive Thor Force, which consuming Thor Force gains bonus health, landing Mjolnir bashes on an enemy instantly recharges Thor Force. You have a maximum of 3. The recovery speed is 5 seconds per Thor Force. Each point of Thor Force grants 100 bonus health, while abilities that consume 3 points of Thor Force grants 200 bonus health. A Mjolnir Bash energy recovery per Thor Force is 5 seconds, and Thor Force consumption cooldown is 1.5 seconds. His Mjolnir bashes his left click, which wields Mjolnir to strike enemies, and when awakened, Thor can launch lightning arc waves to deal damage. It has a 4 meter range, a 0.6 second attack interval, and does 45 damage per hit. His main form of movement is Storm Surge, which holds to spin Mjolnir before dashing forward and knocking back enemies. It has a 2-second charge time, with a 10 meter with no charge and 20 meters with a full charge. When carrying an enemy, the ranges are 6 meters with no charge and 13 meters with a full charge, so different distances whether you hold it down or whether you just pop it as an instant. On no charge, you only get 40 damage, and on a full charge, you get 60 damage, and it costs 1 Thor Force. His next ability is Lightning Realm. Summon lightning that restores Thor Force based on the number of hit enemies. Has a 4-second duration, deals 40 damage when enemies cross the boundary, has a 12-second cooldown, and for each enemy within the spell area, 1 point of Thor Force is restored. Enemies that cross the boundary will also be slowed by 30%. We then have Awakening Rune. Consume Thor Force to enter the awakened state, granting bonus health and enhancing Mjolnir Bash. Has a projectile speed of 60 meters a second. The attack interval is the first 3 hits is 0.4 seconds, while the 4th stage lasts for 0.8 seconds. Has a 5-second duration and has a projectile damage of 70 with a spell field damage of 30 per second, which is anyone nearby. Also gives him max shield duration for 2.5 seconds, costs 3 Thor Force, and inflicts damage over time to nearby enemies. We then move on to Hammer Throw, which allows Thor to throw Mjolnir forward, which then returns back to him. The projectile travelling outwards at a speed of 60 meters per second and returns at a speed of 80 meters per second. Has a maximum range of 24 meters. When it's going out, it has 70 damage, and when returning, it has 30. It costs 1 Thor Force and does not give any critical hits. We then have Thor's ult, God of Thunder, which allows him to soar up into the air and charge for a certain amount of time to then slam into the ground. The damage of the lightning that comes out while you're charging is 40, while the one-time damage when he hits the ground is 220. The duration is 1.5 seconds, and he's able to go to a height of 9 meters. Thor then has 2 team-ups, one where he gives an ability and one where he receives one. He has Thunderous Deity, which gives Storm and Captain America abilities. He gives Captain America a movement boost, and his shield is imbued with Thunderous Power, and Storm can unleash a lightning barrage with an electrifying enhancement. And then we have Odin's Son Reborn. When Hela lands a final hit in defeating an enemy, she can instantly resurrect Loki and Thor in the respawn phase, or grant them bonus health if they are still alive. My first tip for playing Thor is pick your battles. Thor is good at one-on-one fights. Sometimes he can get lucky and get multiple kills one after the other, but he isn't very good when he gets mobbed. He can get dropped really quickly by high damage dealing heroes and isn't very maneuverable except for his hammer throw. So you need to make sure you pick your fights well and make sure you know that you can get out of there using your hammer dash. My second tip for Thor is keeping an eye on your Thor Force. It runs everything except for the melee attack or the lightning surge. His hammer throw, his hammer dash, and also his awakening mode is all one of the Thor Force. So if you're constantly spamming it and then get yourself into a situation where you need to pop one of the abilities, corresponding abilities, keep an eye on it. It's the 3 hammers in the middle of the screen. You want to be making sure that you're not just spamming off dashes or spamming off hammer throws, because you may then need your awakening mode, which needs all 3 to be able to activate. And then keep in mind that everything has a slight cooldown as well. My third tip is making sure that you know when to use Storm Surge. Storm Surge is obviously your main form of maneuverability, and you can use it in all directions. Keep in mind, if it's not charged, you get a 10 meter dash. If it's fully charged, you get a 20 meter dash. It also has a push ability with it. So if you're wanting to push someone and you know that they're running, charge it while you're walking towards them and you'll get damage off and you stun them at the same time. You want to be using it in situations where, one, you're pushing towards a fight, but two, also to escape a fight as well. You're not going to win everything. As I said, you're a vanguard, but you're not going to win every fight. So being able to use Storm Surge to be able to dash away in any direction will get you out of some sticky situations. My final tip is regarding Thor's ult. There's two factors to it. One is the fact that you take off in the air, and obviously you're vulnerable to any attacks that can see you while you're charging up your attack. And the second one is making sure that you use it within the right environments. If you pop it and you're inside a building, one, you're not going to be able to take off very far, so you're going to be an easy target. And two, the distance that you fall doesn't equate to how much damage you do. So you can be really low on the ground and still slam the ground and still do the full damage of it pretty much. It will still do the tick damage as well for the people that are in the surrounding areas. So keep that in mind. When you're popping your ult, you can just pop your ult in a room, but however, you will be susceptible for attacks if everyone is in that room. So maybe you want to do a similar thing to, say, Scarlet Witch's ult, which is you want to be popping it in an area where you can move into the enemies and get them, or you want to be popping it where you know you've got a healer nearby so that you can constantly be being healed while you're getting the ult ready. Because there's two stages to it. It's the charge and then the slam. They can kill you while it's charging. So keep that in mind and keep an eye on your environment. If you end up smashing into something and they run into cover, it won't hit them. If there's something above them, like a roof, it'll cover them and you hit it, it won't do any damage. It needs to hit the ground and the enemies need to be in the surrounding areas, not in cover. And that is my guide for playing Thor in Marvel Rivals. Please let me know what you think of the guide and whether it's actually been helpful for you. As I said, I've been learning Thor, and Thor's been quite difficult to learn, so I'm hoping that I've covered all the bases for him. But I know there'll be plenty of other people that are better with him. So let us know in the comments section down below. Let us know your tips and your tricks for Thor players out there, or people interested in playing Thor. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you drop it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, please make sure you drop a subscribe. Other than that, thank you very much for watching.